What's up, guys? Nasa coming at you with another Master Duel video. Y'all really fucked with the first one, which kind of surprising, especially since it was a Wicked God video, and you normally don't see too much interest in a Wicked God video. But the video actually did really good for the first ever Yu-Gi-Oh video, better than I thought it would do for the very first one I did. So I said I'd come at y'all with the second one now. This one technically should have been uploaded a long time ago. I've had replays of this deck and it was in different versions. I've changed the deck and how it looks now, as you're seeing the final version of it right here. This is not what I was playing originally, but the concept of the deck is still the same, just changed up a lot more things and to varying results, some good, some and still. But basically what we have here is Buster Blade or Labyrinth. Now, the reason that I made this deck and came up with this idea, because I haven't seen anybody else do it, because frankly, just being real, it's not the greatest. Now, saying that, you also have to acknowledge that with the deck not being that great, because it's it clashes in some ways, you gotta make compromises to one to suit the other, and that's kind of what I had to do with this. And you're gonna see in the replays of the original deck that I was playing, there were some things locking me into certain restrictions or for more than one turn that I didn't know about yet, because I was still new to playing Labyrinth. Buster Blade, I have way too much screen. That's my deck right there. That's my favorite. But putting Labyrinth on top of this just added a whole new wrinkle that I wasn't used to. And to go on what I was saying earlier, the reason I threw this together was because everybody, who's playing Master Duel recently has known about the whole Labyrinth is really good with Slifer the Sky Dragon. And I have a Labyrinth Slifer deck that I did play. I got rid of the Revived Sky God because I don't only use it, and I needed the UR for something else. So I can't play it now, but I did have that deck and it did work, obviously. Labyrinth Slifer can work and is actually a deck that can actually do really good if you get a good hand and get the certain pieces set up properly. But the thing that I was thinking about when I was seeing everybody playing that deck originally was, I wonder would it work with Buster Blader? Because the whole thing about Buster Blader is you need to get one trap, and that trap is Prologue. You can get that trap set on the field, which Labyrinth can do. A lot of the cards set a trap directly from deck to field. And I'm like, wait a minute, this can work. But then I thought about it. How do you get a dragon in the grave? And originally in this deck, I was playing one dragon just so that you didn't have a chance of opening it. And I was only playing one whelp, well, two dragons. I was playing one whelp, now I was playing one Buster Dragon. In the original version, I was playing Bisteels to try to get into dragons more. But for some reason, for me, Bisteels just don't be hitting like that. You either open turn one a Bisteel with no way of getting a dragon or light or dark in the grave. Or if you do, the only light or darks that you're throwing away are either coup clock or furniture pieces, normally. Unless you're throwing something else away, but at that point, normally, you need those pieces. So it's there's not too many light and darks in the deck. This ain't what's that deck called? This isn't like Chaos, with the Thunder Dragons, where you're gonna have a bunch of light and darks, or with, what's the other deck? With Dragon Link, where you're gonna have a bunch of light and darks engraved to just be oh yeah, this is easy, I hit this off with the Bisteel and then we get the Bisteel part rolling. It's no, you don't really have access to that as much, so that's why I took them out. Playing more prologues in this, and I don't want to get too heavy into the deck profile just yet, explaining why, but I'll go more into detail into why I put everything in here. So like I said, certain cards weren't in here originally. I didn't have one for one, I didn't have Quaking Mirror Force or anything like that. But let's just go into some of the replays and then you'll see why I was playing it originally and why I changed it to what it is now. Alright, in the first game, we're here with Buster Blader Labyrinth against Monadium, Casture, Monadium, and maybe some other things in here. As you see, it's from the homie CG, this Converge game, and he was in the last video playing the God cards against my Wicked Guards, and I'm always normally in his Discord playing with him. But as you see, we're playing Buster Blader Labyrinth with actually a decent going first hand, but we didn't go first, because if I would have went first, this hand would have been actually very good. But we're going second. So he's playing, like I said, Casture mixed with Monadium and amalgamation of a whole bunch of stuff. I don't know much about Monadium, so I can't explain all the plays. So I'm just gonna look at him and I'll say when something that I notice pop up. So he goes for Tri-Edge, then he puts the Unicorn on board. He has E-Tail in hand, the 2 Maxis, which obviously I don't know that because I couldn't see this at the time. He's going into right Reichart. I think that's Scareflower Reichart with Psychic Wheeler. And as you see, I do have Baldric in hand, so I was debating on if I wanted to use Baldric for anything. And then he played Arrival, which was the only time I think he targeted something in his grave. And I was like, okay, let's see what he targets. He targeted Reichart. Reichhart's a dark. I'm like, you know what? That's a Bastille target if I've ever seen it. He maxes so he can get a draw out of it. He draws into Acro, and then he pops it off of he pops my Baldric off Baron, which actually does me more favors than it does anything else, because like I said, one thing with the Bastilles is you normally struggle to one, get into it, and two, if he didn't, I would have had to summon a level 4 to go into Chaos Angel, which I think I have in here. Yeah, to go into Chaos Angel, or I would have just had to go into a generic Link target off of the Link too. So we open up a Kuplok. We got a Chandelier in hand, so we're going to drop Chandelier and Kuplok to set a, I think it was Big Welcome. Yeah, to set Big Welcome. Then we got Ariana. He didn't negate Ariana, so we go ahead and set Welcome. Now, this is when I was playing Welcome at 2, and I think in the deck profile I showed at the beginning of the video, Welcome Labyrinth was at 1. The reason that I was playing it at 2 is because, you know, every Welcome deck you see plays 2 and then 3 of Big Welcome. The problem with it is when you're playing, specifically trying to summon a Buster Blader, specifically Buster Blader from the extra deck, Big Welcome's effect says it says until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra deck. And that's at the end of the next turn after this card resolves. So if it resolves on turn 2, it's not going to be until end of turn 3, turn 4, where I'll be able to summon from the extra deck again. I did not know that at the time, and that's why you're going to see in this replay specifically, that was a misplay I made where I activate Big Welcome, because that's normally what I do if I have both face down, but didn't activate Prologue. And the thing is, you want to act, if you're going to go Buster Blader, you want to act Prologue, you want to activate Prologue first, and what's it called? You want to activate Prologue, and then you want to activate Destruction Sword, not Destruction Sword, what is it called? Memories. You want to activate Prologue and Memories last in the chain, so you want it to be your most recent thing you activate, because if you activate it first, when you activate these cards and they resolve, then you won't be able to do this. So this can't be chained at the beginning, this has to be at the end of your chain, if you're going to try to do it properly. Because if I did this properly, which I should have activated Prologue after activating Peaceful Burial, what that would have done is Prologue would have sent Buster Blader and Destruction Sword Memories to the grave. Then off of that, I sent a dragon, which I already had one, so I could send the Buster, Dragon Buster to lock him out the extra deck. Then if I had popped Prologue, Prologue would have popped Buster Blader, Buster Dragon, equip Prologue to stop him from summoning from the extra deck, and at that point I'm only at the mercy of back row. But like I said, small misplays, didn't know that, but he ended up negating Welcome Labyrinth off of his Baron, so didn't matter. But I'm pretty sure the fact that I activated it still means I can't activate Prologue. Oh no, I can't. So it was because he negated my my Welcome Labyrinth with his Baron that actually kept me from being locked out, which was kind of good because it meant I could go into a Buster Blader now. And with having the materials for the extra deck lock in grave too, now I'm just, he can't do anything unless he hits me with the Fog Blade, which he has in his hand, which is kind of scary that he has Fog Blade, but he drew it off max heat, so I didn't know that. So it's like, damn. That Fog Blade is going to be a real pain in the ass to deal with here. But we got rid of the Baron, or I think he tagged out of Baron, and all of this on the field is Tryhard and a Fog Blade that we don't know about. So it's like, okay, what do we do here? We try to get some advantage. He negates Ariana. We drop 2 to grab Welcome. Big Welcome's already face down the field. We already grabbed Kuklok back off of setting I think it was Welcome Labyrinth. So that means we get to pop one. We're gonna activate Big Welcome. Put Ariana. No, we didn't put Ariana. We put Lady Labyrinth back in here. Lovely will get a pop. Lady Labyrinth will be able to set itself. Then we have what activated in that order. We have Welcome Labyrinth, which is going to set itself back on the field. Then we have Chandelier, which is going to put itself back in our hand. And yeah, the lady's going to special summon to the field. So a lot going on, and this is part of the good thing that Labyrinth does. Good thing I popped the Fog Blade before he could do anything with that, because that again, Fog Blade would have screwed me, because he either would have negated Buster Dragon or he would have negated Buster Blader, and then that whole combo that I took all that time to put forth would have just been dead. And we're going to attack. I couldn't put Lady in attack because when you special summon her, she summons herself in defense. We attack the defense position monster, the lowest one, I think. Yeah, because this one had 21, this had 18, so we did 3,000 to the face. Attack that in defense, hit 16, hit 12. Main phase 2, the thing that I love about the Labyrinth combo is that it does this. You can go into Muckraker, and for those who don't know what Muckraker does, one, Muckraker drops a card from the hand to special summon a fiend from your grave, which is really good if you need to get back into one of your Labyrinth cards. But what it does that I didn't even know about until I think either this game or another game where I was playing against Converge is that Muckraker stops Prologue from destroying Buster Dragon. So if you do it right and you can get into Muckraker the turn that Buster Dragon is going to get destroyed, Muckraker sends itself to grave, and now you have a permanent Buster Dragon. So you didn't even need to properly synchro summon it, and you get to keep it permanently now, which at that point it's like, what's he gonna do? Because now he don't have any monster effects. I've cleared his board. Any monster effect he puts down, he can't activate. He has no backward out me, and I have more than enough to kill him next turn. Because if he puts anything defense position, I'm gonna hit him in defense and do direct. I'm gonna do piercing damage, not direct damage, but I'm gonna do piercing to him. And when it flips over, I'm gonna get a damage boost on top of that, so I'm gonna do even more piercing damage. So it's like, when the deck does stuff like this, it works really good, and you see why the idea behind it isn't completely terrible. You just gotta get there. And like I said, make little mistakes like at the time not knowing that Welcome Labyrinth locked you from 2 turns from your extra deck. That was something that when I learned, like I said, I put it to 1 and we cut down on it. Cause that being at 2 and you trying to do that almost every turn, cause you know that's the whole thing about Labyrinth, you recycle trap cards. If you keep recycling Welcome Labyrinth, you're just gonna keep locking yourself out the extra deck. And when you're trying to Buster Blade or somebody on top of the Welcome lock, that's where you screw yourself over. So that's one of those things that you gotta know if you're gonna try this deck. And if you wanna, I am more than happy if somebody tries to take this idea and make it better, because I've tried. I get to about like, what was it, like Diamond 4 with this deck. I think I got that far, and then after that I just couldn't get any wins because I'd either open up bad hands or I'd go second and just be getting destroyed. So if you can take this deck and maybe improve upon it, let me know. I'd be more than glad to see this deck play better, because I feel like this is because I was also trying some other ways of playing Buster Blader. I just feel like this is the most easy to get into Prologue, which is a 1-card combo that if you can get a dragon into the grave, which this deck has cards that you can pull from deck to put a dragon in grave, if not just already throwing one off of like Buster, well, since you're playing it at 3 in the final version of the deck, you have the ability to get into dragons. It's just consistently getting into dragons has always been a problem that Buster Bladers struggle with. And when you're not playing like Bestials, or when you're not playing Dragon Link, getting into that dragon consistently has always been the hard part. But let's get into game 2. Alright, we're back with replay number 2. This one is against a Armageddon. I think he was just somebody I ran into in ranked, and I was playing the Buster Blader Labyrinth against him. Now, like I said, some things we're playing differently. One of the things in here is that we are playing Fenrir, just Fenrir into Fenrir, just to obviously, you know, bait something if they got an Ash and they want to try to negate it, thinking I'm playing regular cash. But also just, if you draw the extra Fenrir, you don't really need it because you have a Fenrir, and if your Fenrir gets popped, you can bring out the other one. If not, then just worst case, you just discard it off of something like a Chandelier. So we're going first, which is traditionally what you like to do with this deck. You normally like to go first if you have a good hand, and this is a decent hand. Fenrir, add a Fenrir, drop it off Chandelier, and then we're gonna set Big Welcome, and then we have Welcome Labyrinth. So we're gonna go ahead, pass the turn, and they're playing Dark Magician. I asked the circle because I know what the fuck circle can probably get you into if you have certain cards in your hand. Like if he needs a Dark Magician in his hand and he doesn't have one, circle can get him one. If he needs a certain spell, he can grab that, and you just don't want to chance that. So I was like, I'm not worried about Rod because I have Fenrir, so I was like, I'll just go ahead and just stop circle. Go ahead, pop the circle. By banishing it, he goes into Illusion of Chaos. Puts the card back, sends Dark Magician to the grave, goes into Chaos Angel to get rid of my Fenrir, and I'm like, okay, cool. Big welcome, regular welcome. Bring out the lady, and the reason that, because I remember I was in the Discord and showing this deck when I was playing against other people, but I was in the Discord with Converged and some of his members, and they were wondering why I do it like this. I normally try to activate Big Welcome first into regular welcome, because you want to go Big Welcome, summon Lovely Lady, and then you want to go Big Welcome to bring out Lady of the Silver, Lady Labyrinth of the Silver Castle. You can do it in the opposite order, summon Lady of the Silver Castle off of regular welcome and then Big Welcome the Lovely, but it just depends on which one you want to do. That's normally the one I do. If not, I flip it and do the opposite. But either way, you just want to summon one of these cards out with Big Welcome or with regular welcome, then Big Welcome, you will shuffle Lovely back, or you shuffle Lady back, and now Chandelier is going to come back. Lovely is going to pop. Didn't pop from the hand, popped is Chaos Angel because it has no protection against card effects because it wasn't summoned with the light. So we go ahead and go into Lovely and Lady both on the field, put Chandelier in our hand. We still have Labyrinth Setup, which this card is the reason that I'm showing this game off, because Labyrinth Setup is actually a very good card, because you're going to see right here we have Lovely and, or we have Welcome and Big Welcome, I keep mixing it up, in the graveyard. And let's say I wanted to banish one of them, so you know I can bounce a card back to his hand just in case. You're gonna see exactly why. We drew Magna Hut, which Magna Hut is actually a decent card. So what we did was we were activating Lovely to bring back, what card did we select? We were bringing back Big Welcome, but then he popped Skill Drain, and you're playing Dark Magician with Skill Drain, which is kinda, I ain't seen that in a minute, but it's annoying. But then I'm like, okay, wait a minute, we have Lovely trying to bring back Big Welcome. Big Welcome can banish itself, which will send Skill Drain back to the hand, meaning that Lovely can still use her effect, but I just won't be able to bring back the card that I selected. But it gets Skill Drain off the field and fucking keeps it from annoying me any further. So then we go Labyrinth Setup, because Labyrinth Setup can target a banished Labyrinth card. So we just target the Big Welcome we just banished, and then we target regular Welcome, shuffle those back to the deck, and if you control a Fiend, you can set 2 cards. Set Prologue, set Peaceful Burial. We don't have a dragon or any Buster Blader stuff in the grave. What that will do is Peaceful will be able to get us a dragon, and then off of Prologue you send Buster Blader and Prologue of the, or not Prologue, Memories. Then off of that you banish Buster Blader, Buster Dragon. It's just simple as that. Attack with Lovely and Lady. In the turn, we couldn't do Prologue, like say we had what is it called? Say we had Kulak in hand, we couldn't have done Prologue because I'm pretty sure we were still under not Lady, we were still under regular Welcome's lock, so we had to do it on the next turn, which is good because I got to set these cards. So next turn I'll be able to go into it. He bounces back Dark Magician and put Rod back in his hand so that he can special summon, or so that he can normal summon and get the effect. I Peaceful gets you the ability to set another card. I set Big Welcome, drop the Buster Whelp, drop Buster Whelp. Alright, boom, he goes into Rod and Soul Servant. I'm not really worried. Prologue, Buster Blader comes out, puts everything in defense, and we're not worried about card effects anymore. He can draw whatever he wants. Your Dark Magicians don't do anything, and you don't have what's it called? You don't have a circle on field, and the Dark Magician that was in his grave he picked up. But if you ditched the Dark Magician, I had a Magna Hut in hand, so you were screwed anyway. You needed your card effects to win that game, and I just shut him down. So again, another example of how Labyrinth can get you into the cards that you need to get into to pull out Buster Blader stuff on top of the elaborate stuff as well. You just gotta have the right hands and the right setups, and just go against the right opponents that don't just play stun, depending on what stun they're playing. But let's go ahead into the next game. A lot. So I'm gonna go a little bit out of order. I'm going into the extra deck just because it's not more random, but it's just simpler to explain the extra deck. Everything else in the main deck has like a purpose and a weird little thing that it does with it, but this is obvious. 2 Buster Bladers, 2 Buster Dragon. You might cut one down depending on what you're trying to do, but I run 2 at bare minimum. Borreload Savage Dragon, just in case you need to go into a level 8 off of Buster Dragon and whatever level 7 you have in the deck, whether it's Buster Blader or it's Labyrinth Archfiend. Just in case, like for example, you use Muckraker or you use Protector Web, which is normally the only 2 links you really go into like that, unless you're going into another link to drop a card out of your hand. But Muckraker does the same thing, so it's kind of like you don't really need Nightmare Phoenix or any of these other ones. But just in case you have one of them engraved, you can go into a level 8. It's like boom, they get shoot a negate. Granted, you're probably not gonna have much set up after that, but just in case. Hot Red Dragon Archfiend Abyss off of your level 8s, which is only 3, and then again your 4 tuners that you have. So just in case you want to go into something, or if you want to go into Buster Dragon, like your Buster Dragon's about to go away and you have a tuner on the field, that's something else to go into. But we have a thing to keep Buster Dragon on the field, provided you have enough resources. Chaos Angel off of your level, what is it? Your level 4 being, or your level 3s being Chandelier and Buster Blader, or level 2s being Torby and your Labyrinth cards. So that's how you get into Chaos Angel. Baguska is honestly just in the rare circumstance you have multiple Arianas and you just need to get into something to stall. That's honestly why that's there. You can honestly not play that. I just do it in there because I have Royal Rare and I'm like, fuck it, might as well flex it. And just in case I look at the extra deck. Level 8 Hope Harbinger, you can go into something besides Harbinger, but I just went into that because a lot of people are playing shit like, what is it called? They're playing a lot of branded, so going into Hope Harbinger can potentially stop some of their stuff. Link Karibo, just off of any one of these level 1s. Also Torby, not Lord Torby, also Ku Clock, but I normally never summon Ku Clock on the field. Random Link here. Protector Welt for obvious reasons. If you have a Buster Blader in your hand, special summon it, send a Buster Blader card to grave. Muckraker, really good piece of synergy in this deck. Drop a card from hand, special summon the Fiend from grave. If a card on your field would be destroyed, and that does include Prologue's effect, where after 2 turns it destroys the Buster Dragon you summon. If you have Muckraker, Prologue will not destroy your Buster Dragon, and it will destroy Muckraker to keep Buster Dragon permanently, which is a really good thing. And that honestly I did not know about until I did it in a game one time, and I said, wait a minute, hold on, that's actually fire that it works like that, because it keeps Buster Dragon permanently and you didn't have to properly synchro summon it, which is amazing in certain situations. Nightmare Unicorn, again, just another generic link if you need to drop something out of your hand. And then I went Underworld Goddess just because there are some situations where you need to out something and you can't, you know, out it the normal way, so you just link it away in Underworld. Just super poly, but worse. And going into the deck, standard Buster Blader package, 3 whoops. I used to have 1, but I put 3 in here just so you have more starters. And also can get Dragon in the grave easier, because that's the one thing you struggle with in this deck a little bit. So 3 whoops, 1 Buster Dragon, 2 Buster Bladers, because you want to either run 2 or 3. Don't run 1 unless you're going to cut the Buster Blader package down minimalistic, and then you just got to pray you don't open it in your hand. 2 Buster Bladers, 2 Memories, 2 Prologues, and that's the whole Buster Blader package. Fairly simple. Now, when it comes to the Labyrinth package, you have to alter it a little bit because you're playing Buster Blader. 2 Ku Clock is normal, 2 Torbies is normal, 3 Chandelier is normal, 3 Arianas, because that's your best starter to get into a Labyrinth card if you have one but need the other. And then you are not normally running Lady Archfiend or Labyrinth Archfiend, but because Labyrinth Archfiend is a level 7, and in rare situations where you might need to have one of these tuners with a level 7 to go into Buster Dragon, that can get you it if you need it. So that's in there, but it also gives you access to Quaking Mirror Force, which has a little bit of synergy. Well, not synergy, which has a little cool bit of synergy with Buster Blader, and I'll say that when we get to it. Then we have one lovely, two ladies. Standard. You can maybe run another lovely if you're worried about your lovely getting banished, because that did happen to me a couple times where he got banished and it was just like, well, fuck, lovely's out the game now, you know. 1 for 1, drop something out of your hand, and then special summon any one of these tuners, which, like I said, gets you into, or you can go into Kukla, but normally you're going into this, which gets you into Buster Blader, or gets you into Buster Dragon, which can help with your Buster Blader being permanent, or your Buster Dragon being permanent to your Buster Blader. We got Labyrinth, 2 called buys, 2 called buys, 1 cross out, 2 maxis, 2 Ash Blossom, just generic stuff. Labyrinth setup, because you saw in the one game, you have 2 Labyrinth cards, 1 can be banished or both can be banished. You send both of them back to your deck, can set 2 traps from your deck. I think they have to have 2 different names. Yeah, with different names. So you can go Buster, the Prologue, and then you can go into Peaceful Burial, which will send Buster Dragon, and then, or Buster Whelp to help you get into Buster Dragon. So that's why you play Labyrinth setup. Quaking Mirror forces something to search off Lady Labyrinth Archfiend. I keep wanting to call it Lady Archfiend, Labyrinth Archfiend. The part of synergy here is Buster Blader does piercing damage to face down, well, specifically defense position cards, but being face down also helps. So if you have Buster Blader and you turn everything down on their field face down and they can't change their battle position, then boom, you just tack into them in defense position, you do piercing, and you're going to get a little increase when they flip over if you have Buster Dragon on the field. So that's just your ability to do a lot more damage, and them just being in a compromised position is a lot more because of Quaking Mirror Force. That's why I play it. You play 2 memories just so that you meet the requirements for Buster Blader. Like I said, D Barrier, just in case you run into an annoying deck like Branded, it's a Synchro deck, a lot of those running around, maybe an Exceed deck, Pendulum as well, just something to stop them from being annoying. Evenly, Board Breaker, you might want to run more than one of this. I run 1 just because you have the ability to search it, but the thing that sucks is that normally it sets it to the field. You normally like to evenly from hand, so with evenly, I said that one's a coin toss. You can run more than 1. I only run 1. Same thing with Infinite and Permanence. You might run more than 1. It's up to you. I'm only running 1 because you have the ability to grab all these normal traps. We talked about Peaceful Burial, Ice Dragon Prison, just a good trap to get some cards off the field that are annoying. 1 Welcome Labyrinth, like I said earlier, we run 1 of these because it locks you from your extra deck for basically 2 turns. So what you want to do is set 1, and if you set this card and plan on using it, you don't need to be using Prologue anytime soon. So don't set Prologue unless you're planning on using it. And if you're planning on using Welcome, just don't plan on Prologue being effective for 2 turns. Something you need to remember if you're going to try this. And then Big Welcome, that's normally what your go-to is because it doesn't lock you from your extra deck for 2 turns. So Big Welcome into something great. Only thing that sucks is you normally gotta have something on the field, which, like I said, if you're going into Buster Whelp, going into Link Karibo, that's a good way to put the Link Karibo back in your hand so that you now can bring out a lady, pop a card out their hand, and you didn't have to put a dragon back in your hand because you really don't have a way of getting it out unless you have a furniture card. And that's all that. And that's the whole deck. Let me know how y'all feel about it. Like I said, I don't think this is the greatest way of playing Buster Blader right now, but I feel like this is a better way than most, because the problem normally is you either have to just hope in the drawing a Whelp or Memories, or not Memories, Prologue, or you just play Dragon Link, turbo out the dragons, but then again you have to luck into getting it. But with this deck, you have the ability to set from deck to field these cards. Sometimes you got to get the right combo set up. Sometimes you're just going to top deck one of these cards. It don't matter. There's a lot more ways to get into it consistently, I feel like, than the other decks. But also, I'm not telling you this deck is consistent. Highs and lows with this deck. Sometimes you go on a win streak, win for a little bit. Sometimes you're getting your ass beat and not winning that much. It can definitely be better, but I don't know how, so I'm throwing this out there to y'all to see if maybe y'all know something to make this deck better. But let me know how y'all feel down in the comments below. I fuck with Buster Blader. I'm always gonna play it, so I always be looking for ways to make it better, and I feel like this is a solid attempt at it for sure. Let me know how y'all feel down in the comments below. Like, video, subscribe if you're new. See y'all down in Discord as well. See y'all next time. Peace.
Little baby, you out, you know you was wrong.